Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today, I'm starting a new series. So basically, ignore that, please. Sorry, that is my fault for not having soundproof doors, Mom. And, so basically, I am recording a video, series actually. I'm starting a series where I'm going to make timelines go perfect for every country. Well, as perfect as I can realistically make it. I'm not just going to make the subdue country, annex the entire ocean, along with the entire continent of South America, and call it a video. As best as I can realistically call it, perfect. And so, we are starting with we're doing this alphabetically. So, we are starting with Abkhazia. And by the way, someone put this in a playlist so we don't have to go through that whole thingamajig of doing that later. And pasting nearly 300 darn videos. Yeah, I want to say around 300 maybe. 300 whole darn videos just into, a playlist. And I have to spend hours doing that. So someone just please create a playlist and put this along with every other video in this series in that. So now we are starting with Abkhazia, which is in this region. I'd say realistically the biggest I would be able to get would be from here down through and become actually a power, a major one. And maybe a little bigger if luck is on its side. The possible biggest, I'd say, realistically, would be maybe around these lands. I'd say around that would be the realistic. I mean, we're starting with this, so. We're starting in the 1850s, the Lihinki, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, revolt, which is basically where the Abkhazians fought back. Yeah. This was the kingdom of Abkhazia until this war broke out, because basically they were technically a Russian state kind of thing, so, So they are going to slowly advance through, and they're going to push until the Russian army finally realizes what's going on at this stage, whenever they reach the Ottomans and form basically what we know it today as Abkhazia, if you recognize it as a country. What? Alrighty. So now they are going to get a little bit bigger, but here's where the Russians come in. They're going to go down south and push toward the coastline. Although the people planned this ahead of time, and they get trapped. Not like that, but like this. Oh! That's a good, I'd say, 3/4 of their army. And so with this resounding defeat, finally when they reach this little port here, finally the Russians surrender. So the most realistic I think we might get out of this would be a mega state right now. I am so sorry. Not my fault. Okay, sorry. My fault that... Long story short, my mom does not really like our cat. Alrighty. So, the biggest I think we might get would be realistically, I'd say around this big of a state. And now this would completely humiliate the Russians. And also, in the treaty, the fully unestablished Kazakh Khanate would be established. And Russia would not be able to wage war with them for 5 years in this treaty. So, the borders of such would look somewhat white. I actually want to try and get something realistic here. I'd say something like that. and the Uzbek Khanate would be expanded as well. Well, not as well, but expanded. So, taking a look at this peace treaty, the Russians have to recognize the Kazakh Khanate as an independent nation and the new borders of the Uzbek Khanate. Yeah, I don't know why they're Khanates. That's just that. Although, Bukhara right here is actually a sultanate, so there is some variety. And next opportunity for expansion we have here is going to be about, I'd say, a good 30. Wait, when was wait. Okay, so the Crimean War, I think, right? Oh, wait, no, that wouldn't happen because basically the Russian army would be too weak. So technically it'd be the Balkan War. Hold on. I swear. Internet, can you please exist? Please? Oh, hell no. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Alrighty. For a moment, I thought it was absolutely stupid. Apparently, it isn't, though. Amazing. Back with the video. So, personally, I'd say their next opportunity for not exactly expansion, but an advantage would come out in 1867 during the Balkan Liberation / Crimean War, which would be a lot worse for Russia, but they'd still get somewhat of an advantage. In this reality, okay, now this is actually kind of hard to map out, because the thing is that they just declared their independence and they probably just absolutely destroyed a good quarter of the Russian army about a decade ago. So you can imagine this is not going to be pretty. So now the Ottomans, hold up, wait a minute, this ain't right. The Ottomans, the Russians, and the somewhat already existing Balkan countries are going to go to war. And in this timeline, we are going to have the Abkhaz join with the neutral side, because that is the most expected thing you've ever seen, right? So they are not going to pick a side, but they're only going to join the war, and they're going to be leaning to the blue side, which makes them slightly more blue, making them green. Alrighty. Now, let the fun begin. They are now pushing into Ottoman territory. They talk with the Russians and agree not to harm them. So it is basically just a whole war on the Ottomans. Though they're still not on good terms. And they are going to push down south, along with the Russians. Now, the Russians actually have probably picked up their naval might back up by now, probably, so that should be decent at least, but they are no longer anywhere near number one in the world. Now, here's where they get the advantage, mainly. Actually, not from gaining land over there, but the Greeks are going to have a way stronger army. Plus the Bosnians, Serbians, Bulgarians, and Romanians are all going to revolt at one time rather than another 100 years from now, there being another civil war. It is now 1868 around, I'd say. Pretty good progress. And for like 1 year. And here's what's going to drive the Ottomans to insanity. The Libyans are going to revolt. And this is going to be bad, but not as bad as the final event that will push them to their breaking point. A Kurdish rebellion. That's right. The Kurdish rebelling. I know this seems quite unrealistic, but the Ottoman Empire was corrupt somewhat. And plus, who doesn't love freedom? Hurrah! So yeah, we are going to call it quits at this point and say that it's 1870 and the war has just ended. Taking a look at the peace treaty we have here, it is not great for the Ottomans. The the Sultanate of Abkhazia or the Principality, I think it was at this time, I don't know, would end up taking this huge portion of Ottoman land. Plus, they're going to be able to capitalize on an occupation zone in Trabzon. So they're actually getting stuff from all over the place. Next, the Bosnians are going to secede and get independence. The Serbians are also going to gain independence. But it won't be as bad as I'm going to make it. I mean, as I could make it, because realistically, being fair, if I did make it as bad as I could, then, well, it would not be the best. For, like, best video, it would be unrealistic in many ways, and I'm just not going to go through that whole thingamajig of trying to explain how, in what universe it could be realistic, so. Here it is. The most of the treaty. Now, up here, this is where the Russians are actually going to gain some stuff. They're going to get the entirety of Wallachia, Romania. Just as like a puppet almost. Although they promised, just as a part of the treaty, they promised the Romanians here that whenever, no matter what king or whatever that ends up going through, they promise that they will / have to give them independence if this southern portion is ever captured. So now taking a look at the treaty, this is detrimental to them. Oh, and also, upon this civil war right here, the Libyans are actually going to win. Surprise, surprise, nobody thought, right? What's going to happen? But it's not going to be that bad. They're not going to lose all of their colonies. They're going to lose a big portion, yeah. So what, the Islamic Republic of Libya exists now? So what? It's cool, right? And in this timeline, Greece is also actually going to gain a huge part of this mainland. Actually, that's unrealistic. Alright, we'll go with that. So we now have a stronger Greece, a weaker Ottoman, a somewhat stronger Russia, and a buff Abkhazia compared to this timeline. Because, mind you, they are only recognized as a real country by 5 nations and me. Ain't that crazy? Yeah, so... I mean, they are kind of just a Russian puppet state, but oh well, it's cool. We are now going to skip to the year of World War I. There are a few things I will have to take. That's fine. I will have to copy and paste. We'll actually go up to 1910. And then I'll adjust the borders to what they currently looked like. So, mainly I have to grab Abkhazia. They're the star of the show after all. And there's really no point in grabbing their occupation zone. No way it wouldn't have faded in 50 years' time. So really, they are independent to me. This returns to Ottoman control. The Greeks are doing better than ever, so they are also going to get copy-pasted. They kind of deserve it. Alrighty. And finally, we have the 3 Balkan losers, I guess. They did not get as much as Greece or mainly Abkhazia. So they are the Balkan losers for now. But from the United States of America, love you 3. Yeah, just don't take that offensive. I just mean that in the geopolitical state they are. Although I know none of you are Serbian or stuff. Probably. I don't know. So, yeah. Now, that's all that matters, really. So, I'm going to copy that. And then we are going to see a skip forward in time up to 1914. Wow. Oh, wow, map quality is so much better. Oh, my. Give me a break, brother. Oh, wow. So, yes, that does unfortunately mean we do have to update the map. Who cares? Won't be that hard, right? Just to fit. So, first I'm going to do my best. We're just going to say something like that in 1880 or some crap. The Bosnians were given an ultimatum, and they were forced to give up a good portion of their land. That's hence the cursed look on their, borders. So, yeah. How long is this episode? Wow. Okay, we're not even halfway through yet. Well, we almost are. I don't know. Oh, well. The Bosnians will gladly hop away with limbs cut off, but alive. Next, we have to do a bit of cutting. The entirety of Bulgaria. We have to split Romania right down the middle. Same thing with Serbia. And we are going to see a cursed image. Now that we have this, I want to say that this is probably around what the treaty looked like in actually good quality mapping. So yeah. That's fun. And so, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. And Russia does fulfill their promise, not in the way they were supposed to, or in the way they wanted to, but they did fulfill it, so, hey, works. Now, the star of the show, Abkhazia. In low quality, in high quality, probably by now looks something like that, I want to say. Around that, I do not know. I have no clue, alright? Be genuinely honest. But I want to say that's the mega Abkhazia we have currently, which is amazing. And finally, they are also going to strip some land from the Ottomans as well. So, lucky day. What can I say? It's their lucky day. Tomorrow's episode should... Wait, I need to check. I do not want to get any of you... I don't want to be wrong to any of you, so... Alright. See, I have a list of countries I'm going to do. I just don't want to be wrong and disappoint any of y'all.
Hey, one thing I didn't do.
So, Afghanistan is next. I really thought so. But, alright. Perfect. I'm not wrong. Perfect. Next is the Balkan War. Balkan War. Ball. Oh, and I said the most we could realistically get would be like this big. Yeah, just wanted to inform y'all, not happening. I was being honest, but I'm not going to go that radical and say that would be even realistic, maybe. I don't know. Personally, that is not happening, okay? I'm going to tell you that probably. Probably. No guarantee. We might see a mega Abkhazia spanning from here down into... We might see another Alexander the Great. Who knows? Who knows? But we just got to see. So now, the Balkan War is going to happen. The Serbs are going to first make an advance down into the the Ottoman area, and they're immediately going to surround that panhandle, and the Bosnians and Serbs are going to split it in half. Okay, I wouldn't really say half, I'd say more like Bosnia gets a chunk, rather than splitting it in half. Bosnia takes a chunk. Next, Montenegro is going to push down... Next, Montenegro is going to push down into Albania, claiming the land for their own. While Greece is going to push up into Macedonia and northern Epirus. So, in total, we are going to see a greater Greece, somewhat. Then finally, what we've all been waiting for. Romania and Russia join the war. Romania, fueled by Russia, is immediately going to make some good progress towards full freedom and liberating their brothers. And over here on this front, well, that's not going to be the best for the Ottomans. Not at all. In fact, the Russians will be bordering the Kurdish. Can you believe that? Yeah, no. The Russian army has probably mostly recovered from that whole thing. They got absolutely destroyed. Yeah. I think they are truly starting to recover from that. And with that, yeah. So, they're OP now. Then the Bulgarians are also going to join this war. Oh, dear. And finally, the Romanian armies, Bulgarian armies, and Russian armies are going to make a joint invasion and make a naval landing here, threatening all Ottoman positions of power, and they are actually going to cut off Ottoman troops in Constantinople and knock out the European and Asian sides, creating the front of Constantinople, which immediately makes the Ottomans surrender, and we are now going to see some border changing. Alright, so this was what the pre-war borders looked like. And after this, I am going to show you what the borders will most probably look like. The Greeks are actually going to lose land and gain land. They're going to gain, of course, a lot more than they lost. The Greeks won't be happy about losing border territory to Thessaloniki, but it's better than dying or being annexed by the Ottomans again. Skull emoji. So yeah. Oh, and guess what? The Russians are actually going to get what they want this time. Not fully. It's kind of going to be like that one video I made. Not fully. Kind of. Okay? And why is that? Because IRL, they actually wanted to chop Albania off from the Turks. Instead, they decided to turn Albanian into a nationality. This time, we're not going to do that because it looks funny. This time, we're going to let them suffer. And so, all western parts of Macedonia will be given and handed over to the Serbians, which actually includes parts of Albania too. Technically part of Macedonia, so yeah, we're going to saw this off and boom, bam, bop. The greater path for Abkhazia is now on track. It's kind of like everything is luck for them. And the Greeks are somewhat happy with this. Right now they are, at least. They're going to be overjoyed with what happens in a minute. Okay, hold on. 1 minute. You got to do something. I'll be like 5 seconds. Trust me. 5 seconds. Sorry to keep you waiting. I just had to tell my mom I'm recording. She was going to disrupt me, but had to tell her that I was recording, so I am truly sorry. So yeah. That is that. And next, the Bulgarians are going to absolutely be overjoyed with also what happens. They're going to have a really weird border, actually, which I never really understood. The rest is going to go to the Republic of Macedonia / Thrace. I don't know. You call it what you want to call it. And Constantinople has to be with the Ottomans, or else nobody's going to be happy. Except for actually everyone, minus the British. So, compromise here. It's going to be made the Republic of the Bosphorus. So, Bulgaria doesn't get it, neither does Greece, or the Ottomans, or the British, for that matter. I'm just going to make them straight up blue. One of the bluest colors you could possibly blue. Alrighty. We now have what looks to be very unrealistic, but actually somewhat realistic. Oh, and by the way, the Greeks are going to gain all the... Again, I'm joking. They're going to get a very big amount of land, though. And by the way, the Asian part of Constantinople is actually going to be a puppet state. So technically, it is still Ottoman territory. And hold on 1 minute, guys. Gotta get a charger. That is fun, right? That's life. You gotta get a charger sometimes. And sometimes you gotta charge your phone or the device you are using. In my situation, an iPad. Sorry, this is going to be somewhat of a bad video because I have to kind of, run through places, but I shouldn't have to for the rest of the video. That's on me. Sorry. Oh, and by the way, what's gonna happen to Libya after the Conference of Africa? I mean the Berlin Conference, or Scramble for Africa. Sorry. They're going to survive. Not as well as they would have, or as well as they wanted to, but indeed survive they will. Not by much, but by something. Yeah, so that is that. The Republic of Libya is a thing and probably will be like Ethiopia or Liberia. Sorry, I'm making so many things wrong. I've just been busy doing things. Like trying to distract Jam. What? Nothing. Okay. But anyway. That is Libya. The Italians are gonna end up getting compromised for what happens in Libya, though. And they're going to get more parts of Chad than they were intended to, though. The Giga Chad is going to gain independence from a pizza cutter. That's funny, right? I don't know. You tell me. And here's a note. Shane, I don't know if I'm too late to say this, but Shane, please, for the love of God and my audience, do not spam comments in the comment section. I would really appreciate that. I do not want to see a flooded comment section of 1 comment from you and 7 comments from other people. Sorry, I got that backwards. 1 comment from everyone else, 7 comments from you. Alright, dude? It's just not cool. Alright? Hope you know that. And if you do it next time, you're getting banned. Also, I already have a list of people who I know I'm going to make mod during my live streams. So that will be fun. Alrighty, so that is the Ottomans practically dealt with. Actually, that's somewhat unrealistic. To be fair, I'm going to annex the entirety of the Constantinople region into Ottomans, although most people actually recognize it as a country, technically, I'd say, in this reality. So I'm going to leave the border, but hey, it's fine. We're going to go into World War I with these borders. Yippee! Oh, I feel bad for these Albanians. Trapped. Oh, they're not even Ha 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 ha. Alrighty. Imagine the Red Sea just became Ottoman. Alrighty. World War I. Now, here's something, alright? In this timeline, I don't want to do anything too bad to the Ottomans. So what we're going to do is we are going to severely weaken the Central Powers. Normally, I would not do this, but oh well. And we are going to actually have the Ottomans joining the Entente, along with Russia, technically Albania, whatever, Serbia, Montenegro, France, the UK, and, well, oh wait, their colonies, duh. And, lastly, we are going to also have the United States joining in 1915. Actually, we'll just have them join along, so immediately the Central Powers are going to do good, but then it won't be the best later. Although with a few advantages, they actually gained a few advantages though, such as them having more of a sliver. They can now invade through into Montenegro, and Bulgaria is going to invade into Serbia, taking more land, and so is the Austrians from the north. It's kind of awkward not having Bosnia in this war. Oh well. It'll only matter later, whenever the treaty is discussed. So the Albanians are going to switch sides and join the Central Powers and fight for them. Montenegro is going to surrender, and soon after Belgrade will get captured, and so will the Serbians. Which is interesting to say the least. So yeah. Next, the Ottoman military is going to get destroyed here. In fact, they're actually almost going to lose Constantinople, but they were able to hold on for 1 extra hour, and the British and Russian militaries were able to make it onto the site, along with some French volunteers too, that were kind of useless. And they were pushed back. We are only really going to focus in this area. I do not care about what's going on in Russia, really. I mean, yeah, they have Poland or Lithuania, so what? Alrighty. But immediately, the French are going to be able to push through and take back the Saarland and, that whole smorgasbordish stuff. Enter stuff, blah, blah, blah. The Germans are going to get pushed back also into Königsberg, or I should say out of. So this is blue now. I don't really care. Now, here's where things get interesting. The Greek support, they are not officially part of the war, so they don't count, but they are just random peeps who want to help the Entente go into war, claiming themselves as Greek soldiers and pushing through, invading, and liberating Albania. Next, these troops are going to enter into Albania, and this is, Montenegro and Austria. By the way, this is happening over the course of months. Do not expect this to all be in one day. Bulgaria is going to surrender. Then in 1917, long story short, the Ottomans and war effort are going to be able to get up to around here, I'd say. Well, actually, I'd say around more like there. And the Austrians are going to surrender. Then the Germans are going to get pushed back to the Rhine and the Elbe, which will make the Germans surrender as well. So now we are going to have to go back to pre-war borders. Fun. Everybody is out of war. Let's settle the treaty. The Germans are going to have rough treatment. The Saarland will be annexed into France along with the state of Baden, the German state of Baden, by the way. And actually what they were trying to get, Alsace-Lorraine mainly. So they just got a double bonus. Amazing, am I right? Next, the Russians are going to take over. Oh, and by the way, we'll focus on the Russian Revolution in a minute, but for now, Russian occupied lands, I guess, will be taken here and will be given to Poland, which takes these lands. So, what I'm basically trying to say here is that the Russian Revolution is not important at the moment. We will simulate that whole thing in a minute. Then I'm going to do World War II, a very quick summary of the Cold War, and since I'm getting bored, then we'll do the end. Poland is carved out. The Austrians are just dissolved into a lot of states I really could not care about. And the Ottomans interestingly, are actually going to be too weak to be able to lead themselves in that war that they had IRL, so they are going to get carved up like they were supposed to. But except they're going to have more harsh terms, and it's actually going to be better on the people that were already living there. So, you're welcome. So yeah, they're getting completely dismantled, and the Byzantine Empire is back in business too. The Turks are no more. And if they are anything, they are nothing. So basically, long story short, all I really care is that Greece gets a ton of land here. And, well, the Russians are going to get... I'm not going to fully annex it because I really don't feel like it. But basically, the rest are a bunch of jumbled up states I kind of could care less about. Yeah, I know, the quality of the video is kind of getting worse. Oh well, who cares? By the way, I'm going to start uploading this. Should be daily. Maybe once every 2 days. I don't know. I'll have to get it figured out. But for now, point is, Byzantium is back. Ottomans are out. And it is cool. Alright? And in the revolution, I'm not going to simulate the actual borders. But long story short, the Soviet Bolsheviks are going to launch an invasion on Abkhazia. This is going to be, I want to say, probably their final chance at expanding, probably. And they're going to pull a similar maneuvers to what they did back in the 1700s, or 1800s, I guess, actually. Except they're going to split them apart and push all the way to the Black Sea. This is going to cause the Soviets to surrender, and any final terms are final terms, basically. They're going to gain these lands, where they nearly sever the Caucasus, but they don't. And this is going to be the probably end of this, and I'd say in the Cold War sometime, they do end up getting invaded by the Soviet might, or during World War II. I guess, long story short, they're going to join the Germans in World War II, and with that, they're going to lose, of course, and they're going to lose a crap ton of land and a government to the Russians. That is enough effort, I'd say, honestly. I hope you could hear me the entire time I was yapping. So, the final borders that they're going to come out as, or with, I should say, are probably going to be around this, which is still darn good. Better than what they have in real life, because, like I said, no one even thinks it's a country, really. So, personally, this is pretty good of an achievement. This is what it looks like. Honestly, it has an impact on world history. Does not really have an impact on the modern day. Except the Russians are a little bit madder and happier. They're happy that they have weakened the Georgians, but mad they have created something. So I'm gonna say call it quits. So yeah. Thank you for watching this video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. Sorry quality got worse. I got bored. It's been nearly an hour-long video. Thank you for watching this episode of what if history went perfect for insert country. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.